Hello, folks. It is 6:01 and we are going to get started. My name's Heidi Levitt. I'm the Director of Counseling here at Sanborn High School, and I'd like to welcome you tonight to our Junior Parent College and Career Kickoff. Woohoo! Getting ready for what happens after high school. So I'd like to introduce our counseling team. I have Mr. Ufelder. Some of you may recognize him from the middle school. He's joined us up here at the high school, and he has students letters A through F. And then we have Miss McCarthy, and she has students letters G through M. And then Miss Farrar has students letters N through Z. So we have a lot of information that we're going to be presenting to you tonight. We do have a chat option through YouTube that I'll be monitoring as the counselors present the information. So if you have some questions, just go ahead and put those right in that chat on the YouTube channel, and we'll make sure that we get to those and answer those questions. And so I am going to turn on the presentation for right now. Give me a minute. And I will let Mr. Ufelder take it from here.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm learning myself this year at the high school, and my colleagues have been great supporters. I know in previewing these slides, this one, unfortunately, a lot of the college material and trade material is virtual, of course, but there's still opportunities. The next one's in a couple of weeks, February 28th. I won't read through all of these, but definitely good to make some notes on this and discuss with your students or students. And there is a shout out, I think, at the bottom. We did do a fall virtual college tour, which apparently not a lot of schools were able to do, but it seemed to get some kids excited. So that was a good experience. Next. And I'm sure you've seen this, but just as a reminder, the graduation requirements where kids are looking to get a minimum of 28 credits, and you can see, starting with English and math of 4 years each, what's required. 3 years of science, they need 3 lab sciences, 3 years of social studies, definitely 2 physical educations. There's 1 year of art, 1 art class, 1 tech class, and with advisory, kids will wind up getting 10 elective credits. They seem to enjoy that. We've been in classrooms a lot this month helping kids pick classes for next year. You'll notice the 32 credit diploma, or I guess that's blending into New Hampshire Scholars. Maybe I'll wait on that. But they need 28 credits minimum. Colleges are very happy to see more than that. 32, 33 is possible, and we'll talk more about that. And the attendance policy you see on the bottom, which is important, obviously, to be successful, kids need to be in the building or log on remotely. It's been a really hard year for that, honestly, with being in the building, being out of the building, but it is important to kids' success, and if they miss too many classes, it'll wind up costing them grade-wise. This one I'm learning, but this is the New Hampshire Scholar page, and I was reminded to point out the 2 green ones, the art pathway and the STEM pathway. You see at the bottom, there's a minimum of 3.2 GPA. And I've been told as we visit classrooms, it seems like to qualify as a New Hampshire Scholar, where kids might slip up or not get there or struggle to get there is with foreign language, where they need to take the same foreign language at least 2 years. If you know your kids are interested in 2 or 4 year colleges, 3 years is better, 4 years is phenomenal. You can look online at colleges where your kids are interested in applying and sort of see what they're looking for and even reach out to them. But I know that trips kids up a little bit. The lab sciences, we help with social social studies, math, English. Teachers pick a lot of those. And you know about the kids having options for honors or challenging themselves a little more. I think that's it, colleagues. What am I missing on the New Hampshire Scholars? Maybe nothing.
Oh, no, well, New Hampshire Scholars offers the scholarship money for the school.
Right.
I was answering a question in the.
Okay. Sorry, I forgot. Yes, that it helps for qualifying kids for scholarships and certainly looks good to college admissions departments.
Absolutely.
Let's see, this one, junior year, things that can be done. This is a really good one to look at with your kids. Maybe make some notes and plug in some dates. February, you see course selections. I'm sure you've heard about that. We've been working on that a great deal. March, there will be a lot more with college and career labs offered. I won't say too much more, just maybe take a picture that, well, you can find the slideshow, but of course, testing and comes up a great deal in the spring, hopefully with SAT and ACTs. I know, when do we offer it for free, the SATs on, did we figure out the date? I think it was April. It says 14th.
April 14th.
April 14th, and it's free. It's cool. And then a few more things to know, but I won't read through all of it.
Yeah, I think Michelle will get into the SATs and ACTs.
Okay. And this one I love. I have actually an 18-year-old, soon to be 19, who's finished high school at Northern Essex Community College. It's very affordable. We don't live that far from there, but it's remote. And she just slid into taking college level classes this winter and is enjoying it. And I know that it's just kids enjoy that process. I have a 21-year-old also, but the email is crucial. A lot of kids reach out to me and 2 minutes later I respond, yes, I can meet you, or let's do this time, or we check our email constantly. So if your kids have accumulated 500, 600, 700 emails and they're overwhelmed and they're not looking through them, that's going to be a problem. The other piece, I know I hear great things about SCORE, which is our new program for researching colleges and careers and college applications. Our references go through there. And just, I know it helps if almost each week, maybe make it special, make it a meal, make it Dunkin' Donuts, a car ride, a walk, but don't wait a month or two because a lot is going on and then check in with kids. You don't have to ask them every day either, but just make it part of the routine, maybe at a meal, to try to keep up with what they've done, what's coming up next. Maybe, chart it out by the month. It's not that we're telling them what to do, but they may not do what they need to do on their own. And then all of a sudden they've missed deadlines. Checking the grades is important, obviously, not every 10 minutes, but it's good to know by the week for sure. And then using SCORE to check and support their progress.
Okay. I'll jump in, Mr. Yu.
Thank you.
So as we think about postgraduate plans, the school counseling office does a lot of work with students because the bulk of our students don't necessarily go on to four-year colleges. We have about half of our students go on to four-year, about 25% go on to two-year. I think about 7% go on to military, and then the remainder do trades, technical certificate programs, apprenticeships, things like that. So we actually are kind of with the jack of all trades. We know what's going on everywhere. So we ask students early on, like, what are they thinking? We were just in freshman classes today and we were asking them, what are you thinking for after high school? Don't tell us like, I'm going to be a plastic surgeon, I'm going to this college, because the next 4 years, they're going to learn so much about themselves. In addition to your juniors, they will continue to learn about themselves and what they're interested in and not interested in. So we really just focus on what are the overall goals so that we can help them cater their high school path towards that. So we focus on straight to career, a gap year, joining the military, technical certificate programs, 2-year college and 4-year college. Next slide. Some of the things that we do with them is different career research things. We've done things through NEEP. We've done things, this junior class has actually had career research through Naviance. We did something last year with them as sophomores through the NEEF organization. We have done the ASFAB with them, the career aptitude test. We just did the ONET career profiler with our freshmen. There's also an amazing tool in SCORE, which we'll get into, called the Youth Science Profiler, which is a very intensive career assessment for students. We help with finding internships or kind of like just, you know, I had a student today who was like, I think I might be interested in law or political science. So we're going to work with our internship coordinator on that. And then obviously extended learning opportunities and certifications, whether it's LNA or SST programs, things like that. Next. Okay, so let's get into these. So a gap year is not necessarily, I'm going to take a year off and play video games in mom and dad's basement. A gap year is what colleges actually reference as you are taking a year off and you are doing something formal. That something formal could be working full-time and saving for college, but generally it's an actual program. It's something like City Year, where you're volunteering for a very, very small stipend and living somewhere else in the country, supporting communities in need. Maybe it is, you know, the National Outdoor Leadership School. Maybe it is helping turtles rehabilitate in Kauai. There's so many different opportunities for gap years for students. And what we've done is pasted a link in here, the AmericanGap.org. They actually list college by college what the colleges believe in terms of gap year. Dartmouth College, right here in New Hampshire, was one of the first to say, we would appreciate you to apply to our college, get accepted, and then defer our acceptance because you want to take a gap year. The reason they do that is they want the students to be mature enough to go to college and stay there. They spend so much of their money investing in students in that first year, you know, getting them on track, getting them registered, working with the advisors, the res life, all that stuff, that they really want the kiddos to stay. When they find that they're not mature enough to stay, the gap year helps with that. So it's definitely, we don't want anyone to think that like, yeah, I'm just going to chill, take a gap year. It's a different process. Next slide. Military research. So we just did the ASFAB with the juniors. They were offered the opportunity to attend an FLT, I think it was in January. And we have their scores in the school counseling office. We have hard copies of them. So those are available. If a student is interested in enlisting right from high school, right now with the pandemic, we don't have the availability to have colleges come in and visit, nor do we have the availability for the Marines or the Army to come in and visit as they normally would. So they would definitely want to go to their regional recruitment center, which you can just Google, or many of us have that information in our offices. In addition, there's also the National Guard and Reserves, which is a different opportunity from full enlisting. They offer a lot of the same benefits as enlisting full-time. And students, again, can talk. What we recommend is if they're looking at enlisting full-time with one of the armed forces, they also talk to the reserves to understand the differences between the two. There's also the commissioned officer status, which is available through college programs. That's like you could go to Merrimack College and actually enlist while in college, and you do boot camp, usually after sophomore year, and you enroll in the military after you graduate at the officer status. And then the ASFAB, if your student missed it, when we offered it in November, the next opportunity for them to take it would be directly through the regional recruitment centers. Sanborn only offers it once per year. A senior next year could take it with the juniors in November, or they could take it at the local recruitment center. Next slide. Sorry, Miss Lovett. Okay, the certificate programs in technical school, these are usually short-term programs, usually between 6 weeks and 18 months in length. They are hands-on with little classroom time. Students will usually purchase their own tools, and many of these programs offer job placement assistance during the program or at graduation. And when I think about this, I think about like a Whittier adult education that has some great programs with electrician, plumber, HVAC, welding, EMT. And what they find is that while students are going through their apprenticeship and attending classes one night a week, they're able to get jobs through their partnerships that they have. So we work with students on that too. You know, if someone's really interested in being a linesman, we know of an amazing program at Manchester Community College. We know of some great pipe fitting programs in Brentwood. It's right on that Brentwood Epping line. So we basically have a lot of information with that as well. Next. Community college. This has become a huge option for students where the cost of college is so high right now. So students will look at community college. In addition, for those students who start the community college, the dual enrollment program in high school, it's easy just to keep going with it and finish their associate's degree. Every community college has a partnership with the four-year institutions, whether it's the state of New Hampshire having agreements between a UNH and a Great Bay, or the Mass Transfer Program, which is the Massachusetts Community College to all of their state schools. The community colleges also have private agreements with private colleges. So what we do is we work with students to help them apply to colleges for 2 years, and then they would transfer into a four-year college to finish their degree if that's the route they want to take. This helps them get their general education classes out of the way. It helps them kind of define what major they might want as they move on to four-year college, and significant savings here. Next slide. Okay, four-year college application process. We spend a lot of time on this. And the reason we spend a lot of time on this is the most intensive process because there are deadlines. There are things that the students really have to do that they don't have to do for the two-year process or for the career trade apprenticeship process. So we recommend, there is a Life After High School handbook. It's out on the school counseling site. In the next few weeks, student will get their own copy. We hand deliver them or we mail them home so that we make sure that every single junior has a copy. But again, it is out on the school counseling website for anyone to pull up at any time. We love this handbook because it's literally one page will tell you about, I'm drawing a blank. One page will tell you about what is different types of admissions. So early action, early decision, regular action, and rolling. One page might tell you about how to write the essay. So this handbook is just a 38-page document that just says, here's a page, read it, put it to the side. Here's a page, read it, put it to the side. We recommend that students look at 5 to 8 colleges. Sometimes you have students who will apply to 3 colleges and that's it because they really know they really just want to go to UNH. And maybe they got Merrimack and maybe they have Endicott, but UNH is their top choice. And that's a pretty safe school for them to go to. So we say, okay, that's fine. That's your 3 colleges. Sometimes they might apply to 15. We say that's pretty overwhelming because if you get into the 15 and you've paid those application fees, that's a lot of work to now figure out which one you want to go to. These kiddos have the time between now and November of next year to start researching this and start whittling the list down. We ask that they really do that over the summer so that they don't get that overwhelming feeling in March of their senior year of like, oh my gosh, now where am I going to go? Because I've been accepted to 15 colleges. We recommend that you register and practice for the ACTs and SATs, and Ms. Farrar will talk about that in the coming slides. The senior brag sheet, this is the tool that they use to write or teachers use to write the letters of recommendation, because we want to do the best letters of recommendation that we can for our students. And the brag sheet just tells us more about them from a personal perspective. So we can really make that letter the best it can be. We suggest that students think about their college essay over the summer. They do have the opportunity to write the essay in senior English class. However, that adds stress to a kiddo. So we recommend they think about it over the summer. And prompts are on commonapp.org. We ask that they think about who they would want letters of recommendation from. It must be a junior or senior year teacher, and we generally recommend core classes. And that requirement from each college, it's on their college admissions page. We do recommend visiting colleges. This is really hard in a pandemic. I know I have a senior, as does Ms. Farrar, and we've been like, oh God, our kids can't even visit the colleges they've applied to. So that's been a little trying. However, they're making the most of the virtual tours available on the websites, as well as the virtual college fairs that are being held. And once they're accepted to their colleges, they'll get the tour then. And then start making a list of application and financial aid deadlines. This is really important. We always tell students there are thousands of colleges in the United States. They are applying to 5 to 10 We cannot keep track of all of that for them. The students and the families need to do that. And then lastly, use SCORE. And we'll get into that in just a minute. We know that we're unloading a lot of information on you. This is an ongoing process. This is just where the process starts here, and it'll just keep going for the next year. So next slide. Okay. So this is a first screen of SCORE. Now, last week, we sent 2 different sets of invitations out to every single junior in the junior class. Once the juniors accept their invitations, then the parents can receive their invitations. So tomorrow we will do a parent distribution. If you do not get an invitation to SCORE, it is generally because your kiddo has not accepted their invitation. That goes back to Mr. Yu's comment about help them learn how to manage email. These kids are getting hundreds of emails. They don't know how to manage it. If they do, fabulous to them. I know I had to grow up learning how to use email. Like, you know, I went without, and then I got a couple, and then I got more, and then I got more, and then I got spam. These kids just went right from using email to spam to college. So help them manage their emails. So SCORE is our college and career research tool. It is amazing. Parents have their own way of looking at things. Students have their own way, and then the counselors use it as well. So why don't we click on the next slide? And I think Miss Levitt and I are going to try, and yeah, we're going to try and flip who is sharing the screen right now. So Miss Levitt, do you want to stop sharing?
Did.
And then I will share, if I can find it. I'm going to share my screen. Just so you, the parents and students on the call have a moment to see what SCORE actually looks like and how user-friendly it is. There it is. Okay, so this is SCORE. We have in here a profile, colleges, and college search. And in the profile, we have the ability to look at things like, what is my student's GPA? What did they get on the PSATs? And then down here is this career profiling tool that is hidden somewhere in here. It is called Use Science. And when you do this career profiling tool, it takes about an hour and a half to do. They can do sections at a time. For me, it said I should be an atmospheric and space scientist. Clearly, that is not my job. I just chose the ones that seemed really cool to me. Funny thing is counselor was in the top 10, I think. So, but it gives all this great information, but it does take a long time to do. You have to put your phone to the side, and there is no way to reset it once they've done it once. So we ask students not to touch this until their junior year. In the college search option, we have a preference search and an advanced search, and students can just search on either one. And it is so easy. You can see here that I have searched on 4-year bachelor's degrees located 200 miles from Kingston. I have said I wanted to major in dietetics and clinical nutrition services. And these are the colleges that came up for me to look at. So when I click on one like Simmons University, right in Boston, it gives me their wall. And this tells me things like, what is their in-state and out-of-state tuition? That's tuition only. That does not include room and board. It tells me if does it have residence or not? It tells me what the average SAT score is. How many are admitted how many apply versus admitted versus enroll, what their different deadlines are. The retention rate, this is actually a really important piece of information right here. If you're looking at a college that has a 50% retention rate, that means 50% of their freshmen leave after their first year and do not return. And that makes you kind of go, why are they all leaving? So you want to look with a college with a pretty decent retention rate. Tells you about diversity. Simmons is an all-women's college, so you will not see any gender diversity here. And then different majors, fields of study. And then here is the tuition with the room and board, and then the net price by income. There's also a wall of all of their social media posts that they ever did and continue to do. So this is just one college, and you can literally search on any way that you want. Once a student chooses a college, I have an early decision contract I clearly need to manage. It tells my counselor. So this is the screens that Mr. Yu, Ms. Levitt, Ms. Farrar, and I can see. It tells us what schools are these kids following, And then once they're ready to apply, the student moves it into the application column or the applying column, and we get an alert that says, so-and-so just applied to college, or so-and-so is applying to college, okay? So that is SCORE, and it is so user-friendly. There's actually an app that students can have. I have 3 apps on my phone, one for students, one for myself as an account counselor, and one as a parent, because we all have those 3 accounts. We also have application documents, this is where a student would request a letter of recommendation. It's where they would request maybe a fee waiver if they're on free or reduced lunch. These are things that we're going to go through with students in their college labs, which will start in March. It is not something that you have to remember from here. We just want parents to have a quick view of the tool that we do use. Now, I will stop sharing. So Ms. Levitt, you can share again.
Sure. And I just want to reiterate what Ms. McCarthy said about the app for the students. So if they can go back to, on-campus visits, they can walk around and, click on things that they like while they're on the campus and save it right to their SCORE account while they're there. They can see different, if they are interested in certain clubs, like I want to row for the crew team, they can see what kind of social media posts are coming about the crew team. So it's very interactive. It's very much geared to this age group where they're all about the social media and the pictures, and really that's what brings the college alive for them. So think back to the days when you would get those brochures in the mail. This is much more interactive, but it's kind of the same idea, just in terms of what students nowadays appeals to them.
I definitely do. To add on to that, Ms. Levitt, I do recommend that regardless how amazing anyone's wall or social media is, that your students step foot on campus before they decide to attend there. I know in my own experience, we had my senior fell in love with the campus on social media and electronically. Everything looked amazing, the communications, the college tours, the interviews. And she set foot on the campus and said, absolutely not. And that school came off of her list after she applied, unfortunately. But so it's very important to do that visit, even in a pandemic. They'll help you figure it out. So the next slide, I got one out of order, but it's okay. So let's go to the next slide. So the way that students apply to college, and this is what we get into before the summer starts, is the common application, or the school might have an application. Like Salem State does not use the Common App. They use their own school app. They also might use something called a coalition app. The coalition app is primarily used by Southern schools. We just wanted you to see a quick view of the common application. This is a tool. It has 4 tabs that a student will use as they are applying to college. It has the dashboard that tells them where they are applying and what their deadlines are. It has the My Colleges, which that's where they actually submit their applications. It has the Common App, which is this is all of the common data for every single college they are applying to. And then they have the college search. So if they were to click on, say, if they were applying to Clemson and UNH and University of Delaware, on the My Colleges tab, they would be able to see different deadlines. They would be able to see SAT optional versus SAT required. And if it's optional, what is required in its place, if anything. And then that common application, again, that's where they put things like, what's your parents' name? Where did they go to school? What was the highest grade they finished? What classes did you take in high school? And all that information. So this only takes them about an hour to do, maybe an hour and a half, depending on how it works. But I know in our house, and I believe in everyone's house, our kids sat at our kitchen table on a Saturday, on a Sunday, and they worked on their application so they could yell out the questions, Mom, when did you graduate? So this is something that can be done at home at any time. They can actually start it now, and August 1st, it just rolls into the new year. So very easy to use, but they want to make sure their colleges are using Common App or their own school application. And again, we'll get into that in those college and career labs that we start in March. Next slide, which I think is out of order, and I apologize for that. So we talked about the youth science and whittling it down literally from about 7,000 colleges and universities in the United States to 10 to 100, just based on putting in search criteria. And then there is a resume builder as well in there. So next slide, I think we turn it over to Ms. Farrar.
Sorry, I had to unmute myself. Thank you, Ms. McCarthy. Okay, so the juniors took the PSATs on January 28th at no charge at Sanborn High School. We will be offering the SATs at Sanborn High School, just clarification, on Tuesday, April 13th to the juniors. I think we were saying the 14th, but
Yeah.
it's Tuesday the 13th. If your student is not happy with their scores, they should have already logged in to their College Board account, checked out their scores, and they want to improve their PSAT scores for the SATs coming up in April. We strongly suggest that they use Khan Academy. It's a free resource to improve their test scores. More information about Khan Academy is on our website as well. Next. I think. Yes. So if you wanted to take the SATs more than what we offer for free, you would have to sign up on your own. There is a charge of $52, which went up a little bit this year. If your students are their colleges are requiring the essay, it'll be $68. But some of the upcoming tests are on this slide that you can view later. You can go into College Board and sign up at their website, but that will be an additional fee. Next, I think. So some colleges require the ACTs. We don't offer them at Sanborn. If your child is looking at out-of-state colleges, you might want to ensure that they're not required the ACTs. That for admissions, those are usually colleges mostly in the Midwest. So if you're just be aware that if your student is applying to colleges outside the state of New Hampshire, make sure that they're not requiring the ACTs or the SATs. Sometimes they only want the ACTs, and the ACTs are just highly math and science related. So if you did want, or your colleges are requiring the ACT, there is a fee of $55 without the essay and $70 with the essay, and you would have to go and register your student on act.org. Next, I believe. So sending SATs and ACTs, we don't do that in the counseling department. Actually, students are responsible for doing that. If students forget their passwords to the College Board where they receive and view their test scores, they will need to contact College Board directly. We in the counseling office don't have access to those essays, and we don't have a button to hit reset for College Board. So make sure that your student is saving their passwords to College Board. You will want to, before you take the SATs in April, pick the 4 colleges that you want to send your test scores to. That way you're not wasting time, or you run out of time trying to pick the 4 colleges that you want your scores to go to for free on April 13th. And just so everybody knows, your ACT and SAT scores are not on your transcript. If your student wants them to be sent to a college, they must go into their College Board account or the ACT account and request them themselves. We do not send SAT or ACT scores. Next. Oh, I just said that. So you can send, so if your student does run out of time or they can't think of 4 colleges they want to send them to, you can log into their College Board account up to 9 days after that April 13th date, and they can choose the 4 schools, but it would just probably be easier so they don't forget to have those 4 schools, those 4 colleges in their mind the day of the test. And if you want to send your scores to other schools above and beyond those 4 that you get to for free, it's about $12 per college to send that to. I think Oh, just quickly, it's kind of different this year. I know Miss McCarthy had mentioned that she and I have seniors, and all the colleges that I could say for my senior that applied to, it was test optional. I'm not really sure what that will be like for your seniors in the fall, but just be mindful that some of the colleges say that test optional is an option, that they don't require them to send the SATs or the ACT scores, but they might want something else in replace of those SAT scores. It might be an additional essay or AP scores. So just keep that in mind, that in the fall, if you do have that test optional, because we might still be in a pandemic, just make sure that you're not missing something else they're requiring in place of the SAT or ACT scores.
And it's also important to be mindful of that SAT scores may not be needed for admission, but they may be needed for merit scholarships or additional financial aid.
Thank you. So what do we send as counselors to the colleges? We send the transcripts, we send the school profile, we send a secondary school report form, we send the counselor and teacher recommendations. You don't invite counselors in SCORE, but you would need to invite teachers in SCOREs. And once they agree and upload their letter, then we as the counselor will send those letters through SCORE. And then we also send the teacher evaluation forms. So there's a lot of buttons for us to click in SCORE to make sure that we send to your colleges and make sure that we meet those deadlines. We're very busy in November doing that generally.
Ms. Farrar, can you or Ms. McCarthy talk a little bit, just briefly, about what a school profile is, what a secondary school report form is, and what a teacher evaluation form is?
Sure.
So go ahead.
No, you're right.
Oh, so school profile is every high school has to send that, and the colleges are looking for that. And it's a breakdown for all the colleges to know how we grade, our grading system, how many AP classes we offer, how many honor classes we offer. They want to see, if we offered 5 AP classes, how many of those AP classes did your student take? What else am I missing on there for the school profile? How many go to 2-year, 4-year colleges?
Average SAT scores, average ACT scores, where our students traditionally go to college.
It's all on one sheet. And like I said, the colleges are expecting that. So we have to upload that.
Mm-hmm. And that's actually also on our school website.
Yeah, you can check, you can look at the school profile right now to see what colleges were being sent. The teacher evaluation forms is a little form that they fill out along with their letter. And it's just a couple of questions about how they observe your student within their classes. And then the secondary school report form, that is the counselor has to fill out, and it's going to ask a couple of questions, how we grade, our grading scale, the student's rank, how many other people have that rank. So it's something that the colleges are expecting and that we have to fill out and then make sure we hit send on. Did I miss anything on the second school report form? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Got it.
Yay. Okay.
Ready for next?
What number is that? Because I'm on my own. What number are you on? I'm sorry.
This is
23, right?
This is 23.
This is 23.
Okay. So the students are responsible to send their applications to the colleges, and they may choose to do that through the Common Application app. They may choose to apply directly through their school website. Sometimes if you go directly to a school website, they'll waive the application fee. So it really depends on how the student wants to apply. The Common App, the school app. And then again, students are responsible for sending their ACTs and ACT scores themselves. And after, above and beyond those 4 SAT schools that they chose, they will have an additional fee. Students need to upload their essay either to their Common App account or directly to the school application. And then if there's other documents such as art portfolios, or they have to do like a film requirement, students are responsible for those other supporting documents. And then next. So again, we will go over this in college labs, but things we like to remind students of is to make sure that they have a professional email for colleges and job applications. Once they graduate, their school email sort of disappears. We've seen some, I don't have to read those, I'm sure you can see those, but we've seen some that aren't so professional, and sometimes that's the first thing that a college sees is an email from you. So just make sure that your student has a professional email account above and beyond their school one that will disappear in June. Another really great thing to do, even starting right now, and we actually asked our juniors to do this when we were in their classes last week. If students kind of have an idea of where they might want to go to college, you can go to any college admissions page right now and see what are they going to be looking for on your transcript. Are they going to require that you have taken forensic? Are they going to require that you have taken and passed chemistry? And so that will help guide your student in making sure that they have classes that they will need their senior year in order to apply that these colleges that they're interested in. Please double check your application requirements. That's also on the admissions webpage. It's really important to make sure that you have everything that they're requiring on your transcript, or like, again, if you have extra supporting documents to send, that you send that. So please, please, please make sure that you're checking admissions page. We find it's important, we do share one with the students too, is to create a spreadsheet that has all the information, the college's name, do they require the SATs, the ACTs, financial aid deadlines, special requirements, are they doing regular decision? And if they are applying regular decision, when that date is. And so that can become like an overwhelming task to try to remember all those things. So actually the one that we share with our juniors, I brought home from my senior, I think Ms. McCarthy did too. And we just helped our students keep tabs on everything right there on one sheet. So a spreadsheet, maybe you want to make it computerized, but we will offer them a paper form when they come to a college and career lab. Next. Things to do. So you're going to use SCORE, and in SCORE, you're going to need to invite your teachers and counselors. If you want letters of recommendations, please do not. You can list our names in Naviance, in Common App, but don't list our email addresses because then we won't be able to upload them to SCORE. It's kind of wonky, but trust us, if you need to invite teachers in SCORE, but list them in your Common App if you're going to invite them. Make sure though that you have a senior brag sheet filled out and ask a teacher, and then if they agree, you can send them a copy of your brag sheet. Please, please, please put a lot of information in that. I always tell students to brag away. The more is the better for us to have more information than just one word answers on the brag sheet. And then obviously we really, we require one, but we really want you to attend at least one college and career lab with the counselors. You can attend more than one. Again, those are going to start when we get back from break, but this is where you're going to get a lot more of this information. And then some, and then your personalized life after high school packet. I would suggest start thinking about 2 teachers that you'd want letters of recommendations from. Maybe some colleges just want 1 letter, but they'll accept up to 5. Some specifically just want a school counselor letter. So again, check out those admission pages and see exactly whom they want letters of recommendations for. But we say it's safe to just right now start thinking about 2 classroom teachers who you had your junior year, or ask them your senior year teachers early in the fall. We would like 3 to 4 weeks notice to be able to write you a good letter of recommendation and have time to get it uploaded into SCORE to meet your deadlines. And so, oh yes, so the summer, yes, it's your junior year, summer going into your senior year, very exciting, but we really hope that you'll start chipping away on some of these things that you have to do, so that if you do plan on applying to a 4-year college come fall, you're not completely overwhelmed with the essay, with the Common App, with your SCORE. So if your student does intend on applying to 4-year colleges, we highly recommend that you start those things over the summer, so that again, you're not overwhelmed when you come back in September because I apply day, which we will give more information about, comes as soon as November. And I know that seems like a long ways away, but it's not. And next. So it would be great if you could go on a campus tour. A lot of them are virtual right now. Some did allow us to do one-on-one tours, but even if you are able to even walk around Durham, and if UNH is one that's close by to check out, maybe you want to check out Great Bay, maybe walk around there, but it does make a huge difference once your student steps on campus. So course selection is ongoing. Students have until this Friday to make changes. And if after this Friday, they, looking at the program of study, sitting down with their folks, they want to make any changes, they just need to email their counselor, because we're going to lock down Alma for course changes on this Friday. Again, SATs for our juniors will be on the 13th. Use Khan Academy between now and then. ACT, if you think your colleges may want it, or it's something you feel like maybe you would rather take or also take, make sure that you go to the act.org and sign up there. And again, look at college admissions pages right now, look at their financial aid page, see how much it may cost you. And I think something that would be lovely for everyone to start, at the very least, at least create your Common App account. But if you want to do more work on the Common App account over the summer, again, when you get that booklet from a college and career lab, you'll have much more ideas on what to do. Next. So we're doing things a little bit differently because we're in the middle of a pandemic. So we're going to start those college and career labs March through probably April break during FLT time. We're limiting them to 15 students per FLT. All counselors will attend and support in person. We will offer Zoom FLTs for those who are continuing remote, and students will be sent via email and announcements when those FLTs are coming available, but they also can sign up with their advisor once they see, I think we call it McCarthy's College Career Labs or Farrars. So they can start signing up for those FLTs as soon as they see them available to them. And next, conclusion. So communication, this is huge. I know at this point, maybe sometimes students feel like they don't really need you as a parent, or maybe, they're turning 18 in the fall, but this is right now probably the most time that they need you more than ever. So communication is key. So student and parents communication is key. Student and colleges communication is key. We often encourage students, if you're interested in a college, it's great to send them a little email right now and ask them a question. Colleges will remember that. The admissions counselors will remember that. Student and counselor, if we, like Ms. McCarthy said, there's over 7,000 colleges in the United States. It's really hard for us to know what every college is looking for. So if you shoot us an email saying, I'm looking at this college and it's asking for this, but I'm not sure what that means, send us an email and we can answer those questions. And student and teachers, that is huge. Oftentimes students will want to make appointments with us asking how to improve their grades, but honestly, it's that information needs to come from the teacher. So student and teacher communication is huge right now. And you can, if your student is more comfortable sending an email initially, that's fine too. And then lastly, keep that score going. The students have all been invited, and I know a couple of my juniors have already gotten in there and started following some colleges. So keep score going. Check it out with your student, and it will be forever changing between now and this time next year when they're seniors. And I think that's it for my slides. Oh, and please check Alma for grades. We know it was a little wonky in the beginning of the year, but Alma is up and running and doing very well. And that's how we were doing course registrations, but it is huge. Please, please, please check your students' grades. sometimes teachers don't get to email every single parent that, they have concerns with. Generally, as juniors and seniors, teachers will probably reach out to the student. So check those ALMA grades with your students as well, please. Any questions?
So I've been kind of answering questions as we go along, and there've been some amazing questions. Just off of what Michelle was saying about SCORE, keep it a moving target, keep adding to it. The awesome thing about SCORE, I think, is that as a parent, especially of teenagers, they're moving, you may not catch up with them. It's a quick text, but you can be in SCORE and you can be looking at colleges and you can suggest a college for your student to research, and it may be something that they've never heard of or never seen, or you may have found something cool because a coworker mentioned, hey, my child did that program too, and and then you can send that college, so you can send it right in the moment. So it's a cool communication tool between parents. Counselors can do the same thing. We might be at a workshop and hear about a cool program and think about one of our students, and then send that college to that student and say, hey, check this one out. I heard about this great program. So it's an amazing tool. You can't break it. I would have figured out how to do that if you could. So go in, play around with it, and just explore it, because it's pretty amazing. There's been lots of questions about the PSAT and the SATs and scores. As these guys have said, we can't access your student's College Board account if they don't know their password. If they don't remember what they put in, they have to reach out to College Board via I forgot my password, put in their school email address. We always tell them to use their school email address. And then they can click forgot password, and then they can access their scores. The PSAT scores are coming out March 8th is what one parent just posted. So once March 8th rolls around, your kids will actually get their scores before we as school counselors get them. So they can log in, and then they can link their PSAT scores right to Khan Academy and create a study plan for themselves for the SAT. So they may be weak in algebraic equations, and I'm just pulling that out of the air. And then Khan Academy will create a study plan for them on algebraic equations so that they can increase their scores when they take the SAT. So it's a pretty powerful tool. There's lots of options out there for improving your scores if you're really invested in doing that. When do parents get access to SCORE? Ms. McCarthy, you want to take that one?
Yeah, so we invited students twice last week because the first round we only had about 50 students accept. The students have to accept before the parents can receive their invitation. So we'll do initial send tomorrow to the parents so that any students who have accepted, their parents can accept. If you don't see your invitation, that means your student didn't accept theirs. Unfortunately, they expire in 72 hours. So what I will do is also send another round of student invitations tomorrow. This goes back to your kiddos are overwhelmed with emails. They don't think to check them every day. They will get up, they will check their snaps, their DMs, their texts, probably in that order. And then they may check their email. Help them get into a habit of checking their email, because that is the only way colleges will communicate with them. And coming very soon, they're going to start to hear from us about some pretty important things, more than just SCORE. So they're going to want to get used to checking their emails. We did do, when I sent them the invitations both times, the first times we did announcements in every junior advisory. The second time I emailed all of the junior advisory teachers and said, please tell them this. So hopefully we're up at about 100 out of 175 accepted. So watch for that this week. Cross your fingers.
All right, we don't seem to have any more questions in there.
I saw the one, can I just talk to SCORE? So we used to use Naviance as a high school, and we moved to SCORE. It is very user-friendly. We love how easy it is to transition. What happened is at the beginning of the year, we had a couple of colleges that were not on SCORE. It doesn't mean that the student couldn't see them. It meant that they couldn't accept our submission. So all we would have to do, Ms. Farrar and I did this so many times, it was awesome. We would just email the college admissions and say, hey, can you open up your SCORE portal? And they would say, okay. And they'd click open and boom, SCORE would go through. In some cases, they didn't use SCORE or Naviance. So as Ms. Levitt said, we would just load all the information to them and send it it through their own portal. But this gives us a great opportunity to talk to the colleges and really communicate with them about something other than just one student. We talked to them about our whole school, about their college. So we found SCORE to be really, really user-friendly, and the colleges are more than ready to take the documents from it.
All right, I think that's it. If I have one final note is you will get through it. It's completely overwhelming if you've never been through this process before. It can be really overwhelming. Reach out to us. We are a pretty amazing team. As Farah told me I had to do was toot our horns because I do think we are pretty amazing. And between the three of us, we've been doing this for a lot of years, and we've had our own children go through the process. So we get where you're coming from. Just reach out, just ask us questions. Nothing's too silly, nothing's too trivial. We'd rather you ask and be able to have that conversation than wait until it becomes too big. So
Can I just say one thing on an ending note? Please check out our counseling website, our webpage. It's click the office, the counseling office. We put a lot of work and great resources on there, the program of studies, like everything is on our website. So please check out the website. Just because we put a lot of work and effort into that. But there, like I said, there's so much information on there that you will find helpful. That's all. Sorry.
all right. Any final words of wisdom, Mr. Yu or Ms. McCarthy?
I finished college a long time ago, but it was an incredible part of my life. So if your kids are sort of iffy about trying it, push them a little bit. It does open doors. It does broaden their world. I highly recommend it if it's an option. So.
Ms. McCarthy?
Yeah, I just want to reiterate, I think what Ms. Farrar said, and that's, or actually Heidi, I think you said it, it can be overwhelming. Actually applying to college is easy. Figuring out which college you want to apply to, that's the hardest part. But the actual application is a piece of cake. It's all facts. So the more you can do over the summer, the easier the fall is. These kids have so much on their plate when they come in senior year. Reduce that stress with them, work on this with them over the summer.
Definitely.
The lake house.
Yeah, the lake.
All right, folks. Looks like we've wrapped everything up. Again, send us an email if you have any other questions. This presentation, if you have friends who weren't able to join us tonight, the presentation, once we clean up do some editing, we will post this video to our counseling website. As Michelle said, there's some great resources there. We'll also post all the slides there as well. So your friends will be able to access all of the information. Or if you want to watch it all over again, because we've been amazing, be okay with that too. That being said, we'll end on that and have a good night. Stay safe. Drive careful, everyone.